Once every year, at exactly 3 a.m., a mysterious 911 call came from an abandoned house where no one lived for the past 30 years. And this time, someone finally picked up. On the outskirts of the city stood an old, decaying house known as Hollow House. It had a chilling reputation. Once every year, at exactly 3 a.m., a mysterious 911 call would come from this house. But no one had lived there for over 3 decades. One foggy night in 2018, 911 operator Olivia was working the late shift. Suddenly, a sharp ringing sliced through the quiet room. On her screen flashed address, Hollow House Road. Call type, unknown. Olivia answered, "This is 911. What's your emergency?" But on the other end, only dry, ragged breathing. A faint sound of cracking wood, then a distant child crying. Olivia tried again. No response. And then, in a trembling whisper, she heard, "It's coming. Help, please." Her system showed the call was coming from inside Hollow House, but the property had been abandoned for 30 years. Alarmed, she dispatched officers Merrill and Jake. When the officers arrived, the front door stood slightly open, swaying back and forth. Though there was no breeze, it looked like someone had pushed it from the inside. They stepped in with flashlights. The entire house felt freezing cold. Torn wallpaper hung like rotten skin, and old telephone wires dangled from the walls. "Who could have called from here?" Jake whispered. Suddenly, footsteps upstairs, heavy, rushing, like someone running to hide. Guns drawn, the officers climbed the stairs. At the end of the hallway sat a small room with an old wooden table. On it lay a broken landline phone from the 1980s. The receiver hung off the hook, gently swinging, as if someone had just placed it down seconds ago. Merrill lifted the receiver. A burst of static. Then the same horrifying breathing Olivia had heard. And the same whisper, "It's here." The lights flickered violently and went out. The door slammed behind them. Pitch darkness swallowed the room. Jake dropped his flashlight, the beam illuminating only the floor. Suddenly, Merrill felt a cold, skeletal hand touch the back of his neck. Both spun around. In the corner stood a woman, or what was left of one. Long black hair covered her face, and she wore a torn white gown, stained with age. In her hand, she held another shattered phone receiver. She slowly raised it to her ear and screamed, "Help me!" Her voice was so piercing, the walls shook and cracked. The officers collapsed, unconscious. The next morning, residents found Merrill and Jake lying outside the house, trembling. They insisted there was no one inside, but the phone kept ringing on its own. Later, when the 911 audio logs were reviewed, investigators heard 3 voices: Olivia's, the officers, and a third voice, the woman who had died in Hollow House 30 years earlier. And then, the next night, at exactly 3 a.m., the screen lit up again. Incoming call, Hollow House.